Okay, so now we have to be look over into the uh, concepts of the self-organizing maps. Already we discussed in the previous episodes what is the artificial neural networks and how it's working with that unsupervised learning, and then how it's giving the dimension reduction, and how has been worked as a cluster and feature mapping. So these are all that primary concepts, and that SOM is working with the three principles. So before that, we discussed about it's having the two layers. That's number one is called my input layer, and number two is called that is the output layer. The SOMs is working like just how our brain is working, that is the mimics of that brain. So self-organized like that sensory mapping. So everyone know the brain is it's an huge repository. So there the numerous data that has been stored in the form of chemical setups. So that is the biological things that's happened in that brain. But everything that has been represented by one visual parameter. So anything if we want to recollect from that brain, just we have to be figured out the incident, the scene, the scenario, the environment when the incident is happened. So what setup is there, what kind of the people is there. So these things cannot be forget by that brain. So in colloquial we can able to say with the representation of that programming logic. So that point is called that is the pointers. So how we are using that is the pointers in C, and then so C++. In that same way, the brain is keeping one index. So this index is having the representation of that situation. We may have fear with that some situation, or we may met with a certain accident, and we may experience with a certain trauma. Sometime we hear that is that very sad news or that good news or whatever it may be. But quickly the brain recovered that entire data set by the prime and that important one that has been kept as an imaginary representation as the pointer in that brain. So the same way the SOM is also working. So by the mimics, by the concept of that brain, the brain can able to recover that information that is which is very closest to that pointer. That means the distance between that parameters that is the stored. So where the shorter events can able to be forget by us, but the some longer events cannot be but the longer events can able to be remembered. Say an example, in case we can't able to quickly recover, so what is the breakfast on last Monday, or that's last week of the Tuesday, immediately we can able to be recover the things, so what we had in that breakfast or that lunch. But instead, there's something that happened some long years back, some 10 years or the 15 years or the 20 years back. That piece of that information can able to be recollect, or that from that repository that within the fraction of the seconds. Reason is, so frequently we are so remembering, and we are putting that incident in that very shorter path. But the taking of that breakfast or that taking that lunch at that home, we can't able to remember. But the same way, if we can able to be remember on what day I went to that restaurant and I had that biryani or that some new dishes, so what I tried. So that thing the brain can't able to be forget. So that thing you can able to be recover immediately. Oh, on that last Saturday or that so last month I went to that particular restaurant, and it's having that so beautiful taste in particular particular dishes. We can able to be share all these things with our friends. But if the same friend asks that the question, so what you had certain breakfast or the lunch in your home in the past 1 week or the 2 weeks, we can't able to be remember. So since we can't able to be make them into the closest to the pointers. So, but in SOM is making to closest to the pointers, and frequently making the important parameters into the lesser distance. So this is the way the SOM is working. So this is the very primary thing. And then number two, it's having that very competitive learning, and number three, it's having that cooperative learning. On the coming episodes, we have to be discuss about how these parameters is working.